Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this, because today we are tackling a massive, absolutely crucial blind spot in the technology that's actively reshaping our world. I mean, we're throwing literally billions of dollars of compute at artificial intelligence, but what if I told you that right now it might actually be flying completely blind? We often think of AI as this infallible, all-seeing entity, right? But beneath those super polished interfaces, there's a fundamental structural flaw in how these models operate today. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack that exact flaw, but more importantly, and this is the exciting part, we're going to examine an impending electric shift that is poised to fundamentally upgrade the future of artificial intelligence. We're talking about a massive pivot from probabilistic guessing to absolute certainty. We're arming the future with the sword of verified knowledge. Let's get started.
Is your AI agent making decisions on data that doesn't exist? It's a bit unsettling when you actually stop to think about it, isn't it? Let's just immediately shatter this illusion of the perfectly infallible, all-knowing AI, because the implications here are massive for our daily lives and our global economy. Autonomous agents are getting smarter at a breakneck pace, for sure. Right now, they're out there executing high-frequency trades on financial markets, they're conducting incredibly deep, specialized research, automating these insanely complex supply chain workflows, and even talking autonomously with other AI agents to achieve their goals. I mean, they seem endlessly capable. But here is the massive structural catch. They are routinely making high-stakes decisions based on data they literally cannot prove exists in the real world. And look, when an autonomous agent relies on unprovable data, the very foundation of its intelligence is basically built on sand. And as we all know, building an empire on sand, that never ends well.
Stale, wrong, or poisoned data masquerading as truth. This brings us to the really harsh reality of what these agents are actually consuming at scale. See, most of them are pulling their facts from these massive datasets that absolutely no one can cryptographically or mathematically verify. This unverified information, well, it takes a bunch of different forms. It can be incredibly stale, it can be just flat-out factually wrong, or worst of all, it can be intentionally poisoned data that's specifically designed to manipulate outcomes. Yet, to the AI, it is masquerading as absolute truth. And this reliance on unverified toxic datasets is the fundamental root cause of the hallucination loop we're currently stuck in. The AI itself isn't broken. It's just executing perfectly on a completely corrupted, unverified foundation. And the cost of this problem is, quite frankly, astronomical. We are wasting massive amounts of energy and capital having models confidently generate perfectly articulated falsehoods.
Section 1. The true scaling bottleneck. The compute problem versus the knowledge problem. For the longest time, the narrative in the tech world has been heavily skewed. Everyone just assumed the scaling problem was all about compute. We thought, hey, we just need bigger server farms, faster processors, and gigawatts of raw electrical power to brute force our way to smarter AI, right? But feeding an AI faster compute without verified data is kind of like strapping a massive rocket engine onto a car with a completely broken steering wheel. You'll go incredibly fast, sure, but you are almost certainly going to crash. The bottleneck preventing artificial intelligence from scaling effectively isn't about how fast it can process data. It is fundamentally about the knowledge itself. We don't just need more data. We desperately need verified, provable knowledge to actually steer this rocket.
Section 2. The Sword of Verified Knowledge.
Verifiable data. Platforms like Codatta making human experience directly accessible and verifiable for AI agents. So, how exactly do we solve this knowledge problem? Well, we need a brand new tool to cut through the noise. We're talking about verifiable data. And this is exactly where decentralized data networks like Codatta come into play, positioning themselves for this defining moment in tech history. The ultimate goal here is making actual, lived human experience directly accessible and, this is the crucial part, verifiable for AI agents. This isn't just mindlessly scraping the open web and crossing our fingers. No, this is an entirely new infrastructure. We're talking about turning real human experience into tangible, monetizable data that an AI can actually cryptographically trust. It bridges that massive gap between what humans know to be true through lived experience and what machines can mathematically verify as fact.
A DeFi analyst shares insights. A robotics engineer documents a process. A farmer logs what works in her soil. Let's really ground this abstract concept for a second, because this is where the economic incentives get truly fascinating. Like, who is actually wielding this verifiable knowledge? It's everyday people with real skin in the game. It's a decentralized finance analyst sharing hard-earned insights and yield strategies straight from the crypto trenches. It's a robotics engineer meticulously documenting a really complex, nuanced physical process on a bustling factory floor. Or, consider a farmer logging exactly what actually works in her specific microclimate and soil after years of trial, error, and hard labor. Their real-world, hard-fought experience holds immense value. In this new paradigm, that localized wisdom becomes verifiable data. It's knowledge that can be proven, trusted, and eventually monetized directly by the very people who generated it.
Section 3. The 2026 AI Economy.
2026. I want you to keep that year in your head, because by the end of 2026, the entire landscape of artificial intelligence is going to look radically different than it does today. The absolute sharpest, most capable AI agents in the world, they will no longer be the ones that were just trained on the biggest, stalest data dumps scraped from the internet way back in 2023. The era of just throwing more garbage data at a massive billion-parameter model and crossing our fingers for a miracle, that era is officially coming to a close. The future completely belongs to agents that can actively source truth in real time.
Step 1. Agent needs fresh signals. Step 2. Queries living human expertise. Step 3. Pays Oracle on-chain in crypto. Here is the exact cycle of how this new ecosystem actually operates. Step 1. An autonomous AI agent realizes, hey, I have a gap in my knowledge, and it needs fresh, real-world signals to make a critical high-stakes decision. Step 2. Instead of just guessing or relying on outdated training weights, it queries living, verified human expertise directly. It reaches out to the network to find that farmer, that engineer, or that DeFi analyst we mentioned just a minute ago. And then step 3, the agent pays that human oracle directly, on-chain, in crypto, for their fresh, verified knowledge. This creates a direct, completely frictionless financial line from the AI straight to the people with real skin in the game, entirely bypassing those traditional data brokers. It's brilliant.
From my vantage at XAI, chasing the universe's deepest patterns, this shift feels inevitable and electric. The momentum behind this paradigm shift is massive. Guys, just look at this perspective from the absolute bleeding edge at XAI. I mean, inevitable and electric. That is a strong statement. This isn't just some wishful thinking. This is literally the operating thesis for the next generation of intelligence. The realization that we fundamentally need verified human oracles to truly map reality is becoming a core pillar for all the top-tier research labs out there. It represents a massive shift from passive web scraping to active, verifiable participation from actual human experts.
Models guess versus agents understand. And that brings us to the ultimate contrast, really the core takeaway of everything we've unpacked today. Models trained on stale, static datasets, they just guess. At the end of the day, they are incredibly sophisticated calculators predicting the next most likely word based on old, unverified patterns. But agents that consult human oracles who actually know the truth, they understand. By arming our AI with verified knowledge, we're no longer just putting band-aids over hallucinations or slightly tweaking algorithms to seem a little less wrong. No, we are creating agents that actually comprehend the reality they're operating within, fully grounded in provable human experience.
Who's ready to mint their first piece of on-chain wisdom? Which leaves us with one final, very personal question for you to consider as we wrap up this explainer. Your unique experiences, your specialized knowledge, the things you know to be demonstrably true, that is the verifiable data of the future. The infrastructure is literally being built right now to turn your expertise into the very foundation of the 2026 AI economy. So get ready. The agents are already listening, and they are waiting for you.